Welcome to the Two Opinionated Brothers podcast with Smart Jarvis and Big Sam. This podcast, opinions, and views are simply those of the two opinionated brothers. So don't trip.
All right, Jarvis, it's Friday, August the 14th, 2020. Two opinionated brothers, that is, live again in the
Tongue
studio.
twisted already?
Well, you know, I got
You
a
scared?
lot on
You nervous?
I have a lot on my mind, Jarvis.
Okay. You telling me the date like I don't know what today's date is?
Well, I'm talking to the listeners.
Okay.
Have you looked at the analytics of our platform lately?
I don't, that's not my job. I'm the
not
star
your
of this
job? Okay.
podcast.
Well,
I have other guys I pay to do those type of things.
I guess that.
I'm here to formulate opinions and influence the masses, which is what I do on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, Smart Jarvis is back once again. I know you guys have been waiting to hear from me. Big Sam, not so much. You were going to give us a breakdown of some analytics or some crap like that?
Well,
Go ahead, man.
I'd just like to say
Go ahead,
happy
man.
Friday to our listeners in Hungary and Ireland.
It's Friday.
I understand that we have 8% international listeners so far.
We're going to party
So
and
I will
get our groove on. Do they know about that song? And where you say hungry and where?
Okay, guys, let's
Where
go
are we
ahead.
at again? Hungry and where? Can you tell me again?
We're in North Huntsville right now.
Yeah, I
so,
know that,
yeah,
but can you tell me those other two countries?
Ireland
Ireland?
and Hungary.
Okay.
And
So-
I like to think that I'm a big reason why we have Irish listeners.
Oh, no question about it
Yeah,
with all that Irish whiskey you drink.
Yeah,
In
so-
fact, I guess the only way I can start getting some type of repayment is if I shame you on air. So every time Sam comes over my house, he goes straight to the bar and starts drinking a particular Irish whiskey.
Called
Jameson that I purchased specifically for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that, 20 plus years of friendship or, I guess association. I don't know, if I could call you a friend or not. I would think that the guy would kind of reimburse me for something, but I get nothing. You bring barbecue plates over here, you don't share. I'm just trying to figure out, man, is this thing one-sided? This friendship is one-sided?
Well, I'm paying you back in being on top of the stats and analytics of the podcast, and somebody has to run the board and make sure that we actually get on the air.
Shout out to Ireland and what was the other one more time? Because I don't want to disrespect
at this
them.
point, Jarvis,
I don't want to
matter.
disrespect the other
Hungary.
country.
Hungary.
Shout out to Ireland and Hungary. By next podcast, I will know how to speak your native language, okay? So I can speak directly to you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and check out when we'll let that go.
What we talking about today, man?
Well, before we get started,
Okay.
Jarvis, you were mentioning to me apparently,
Yeah.
you've had an extended period
Uh-huh.
to do some homework. We left with some homework,
What was the homework?
some things that we were going to look into and talk about.
Okay.
To head off. So we at least owe the people the first 4 or 5 minutes of the podcast to go back and look. Over some of the issues. Do you even remember what we talked about?
I don't remember. Again, Sam, I want to reiterate this to you. I'm the star of this podcast. It's not my job to remember things, okay?
Well,
my job is to get on air and perform, and that's what I do. So you can remind me if you want to, but the only thing I came to talk about today was, as the commander-in-chief pronounced it, Kamala.
All right. Well,
That's all I'm here to talk
that's
about, bro.
fine. That's fine. But we wrapped up last time with we were talking about face mask and the mandate to wear face mask, and
Okay.
I made a brilliant comparison to the government mandating contraceptives and saying that unprotected sex would no longer be allowed. And then we looked into it and we said, well, we thought, well, maybe there were similar laws like that may have been passed before.
Okay.
And we were going to take some time to do some research.
No, I wasn't going to take any time to research. I have a research team that handles that type of stuff, bro.
Oh, okay.
I don't do no research.
I was pulling
Yeah.
up the software today, and I checked
Okay.
the browser history, and I saw bigbooty.com. I thought maybe that's what your
First off,
research
I
was.
want to be clear.
Oh,
That
okay.
app, America, Mom, Dad, that is fake news.
Is
You
that
know good
fake
and well
news?
I don't listen. I don't watch any. That is disgusting. It's despicable that you would even say something like that, man.
Okay.
And you need to clear that up right now and tell everybody that was a joke, a sick
So-
joke at that.
In fact, in reality, there was a law passed that mandated that, but it was only in one Los Angeles county
Okay.
that mandated, and
So it was useless because
Well,
they just shot pornographic material in another county.
And surprisingly, it wasn't. It was the motion. It was put in motion by the actual participants in the industry who felt that their lives
We're in danger.
were being put in danger because people weren't There was nothing that said that, and if they wanted to work, they had to go by whatever the director wanted to see at that time.
Sam,
So,
I don't really care about this, but
I'm
seems
following
like
up
it's
on
something that's
issues.
very important to you. I guess.
Well, I'm following up on the issues that we told.
Okay, but I guess you watch a lot of
that they would
pornography. I don't understand why we even care about this.
Well, because we were talking about face mask mandates.
All right, well, let's move on, man.
And
I'm ready to move on.
Somebody may have actually listened and wanted us to follow up on what we said we were going to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So I took my time.
Thank you, Sam.
I read it.
I appreciate it.
I did it. And, you researched how you researched.
I didn't research.
How I researched.
I appreciate your work ethic and your attention to detail and wanting to follow up with the listeners. Can we move on?
Well, it's 5 minutes in. So
Thank you. You wasted 5 minutes of my fans' time talking about foolishness. I apologize to all the fans of Smart Jarvis.
Hey, folks.
So what we're here to talk
now.
about, the only thing that everyone's talking about and that everyone cares about right now, I think, besides the COVID-19 coronavirus, or as the commander-in-chief calls it, the China virus, the Kung Flu. This guy's something else, man. But anyway, so Joe Biden, Democratic candidate for president, picked his vice presidential running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, will be the first black woman, right, to be selected by a major party to be the vice presidential candidate, member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you want to talk about it a little more before I?
Yeah, I've got a whole lot of stuff to go, but I want to hear whatever.
I don't want to ruin
you
your
have to say.
moment.
You
with
can't.
my opinion.
It's impossible for you to ruin my moment.
Well, first of all, she wasn't selected by the Democratic Party. In fact, during
she was selected by Joe Biden.
By Joe Biden. So let's clarify that.
Okay. Well,
in fact, during her run for the presidency, she received 2%.
Of
the vote.
Yeah.
So that means 98% of the people thought that she was unfit to be anywhere near the White House.
Well, to be the president.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's clarify.
What's your point?
That.
What's your point? Sounds like you're not a fan.
Well, no. You said fake news, and saying that she was selected by the Democratic Party to, it's fake news.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I said that, I don't believe I said that. I'll go back and listen later.
Said.
She was selected by Joe Biden.
Okay.
So what happens is the presidential candidate selects his or her vice presidential candidate, right? Anyone with half a brain knows that, right? So if there was a slip up in what I said, anyone with half a brain knows what I meant. Joe Biden selected her. What is your opinion of that?
Of the fact of Joe Biden, or the fact he selected her?
Of her selection, son. Come on, man.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. I'm disappointed personally.
What are you disappointed in?
I am. In fact, it could be fake news, but it was covered over multiple news outlets that it was 100 black influencers submitted in writing a demand that if Joe Biden did not select an African American woman as his running mate, he would quote unquote lose the election. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I did hear that. I didn't like the fact. Since we're going into,
true? Do you think it's true?
Well, I hadn't read whatever you're talking about the influencers, but it was very clear. It was mentioned by a lot of people that Joe Biden must select a black woman as his vice presidential candidate. I didn't like that. I didn't like that because to me it could potentially have just a slightly negative impact. I think it took a little bit of the fire away from her accomplishment by saying that by telling him that you had to select a black woman. I think if he wanted to select a black woman, that was great, and I think he should have just selected one. I don't think it should have been any pressure put on him to say you've got to pick a black woman. So I didn't like that. I think that a presidential candidate should have the ability to pick whoever he or she wants. Now, I agree that black people, black women have been a staple of the Democratic Party for a long time, and they've been underrepresented both in cabinet structures and the platforms and policies that Democratic candidates, particularly for president, have pushed. And, I agree. There's a lot of negative talk out there in the social sphere about Joe Biden and Senator Harris because they both have some poor records when it comes to African Americans. We all know Joe Biden in the crime bill. Senator Harris had some questionable dealings as a district attorney.
Questionable dealings, or
Yeah.
is she incarcerated over 1,500?
And heavy incarceration, not willing to look into police misconduct.
Back to cops. Let's say what it is. She backed the cops.
Yeah. No question about it. No question.
Yeah,
no question about it.
Okay. Well, say it like it is, Jarvis.
Well, I
She
mean,
and on and trying to. Find
Well,
the
I don't
right
have
words.
to. I don't have to do any of that.
Oh, okay.
She had certainly
She backed the cops. I'll say it for you.
Yeah. Okay. However you want to determine. I don't need you to speak for me. I want to be clear on that. But yeah, so she has a questionable history, I think, with dealing with African Americans and decisions she made. At this point, though, my argument to people now is, hey, I'm a Bernie guy. I was a Bernie guy against Hillary. I was a Bernie guy this time. But once the decision is made, the choice is made, and whether you like how the choice came about or not, and I don't, I think that we need to hold the Democratic Party accountable for putting their thumb on the scale in many cases.
You never will. You never hold them accountable.
I've always did that. I spoke out.
Well, you just
I
said
was
we're
adamantly.
you just said we're making history. Let's make
Well,
history. That's the trending
those-
hashtag. Let's make history.
Those arguments are exclusive, mutually exclusive. We need to hold the Democratic Party accountable, right? And tell them that we don't like the fact that they put their thumb on the scale in many of these instances for selecting candidates, and let the will of the people be the way.
In fact,
But
the last two candidates for president were selected by the will of the party and not the people.
oh, I agree
Correct.
100%. I'm a Bernie guy.
Bernie against Hillary
And Bernie against Joe.
and Bernie against Joe.
Yeah, I agree.
So twice the
I agree.
Democratic Party has,
Screwed the people.
the people.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that.
elected who they want. I mean, my point
I
is-
agree with that. But I think the time to fight that battle is not by it's what I always say, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right?
So when is the time to fight it?
So the time to fight that battle is in between.
Well, we've had 4 years.
It's not to not show up at the polls in November
We've had
and
4
allow
years. We've had 4 years of Agent Orange, as some of you,
Hey, man, it's the president,
call it.
man.
Well,
He's
I
the
mean,
president.
I'm gonna say what you guys call it.
I've never called him Agent
Well,
Orange.
I've seen it. We've
Not
had
from me,
4
you haven't.
years of Agent Orange.
Yeah.
As he's so graciously
Almost 4
referred
years.
to, almost 4 years, coming up on 4 years.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me in the last 4 years that's not enough motivation to say, hey, well, maybe we need to listen to the people and see exactly what it is they want and not force them to go with whatever it is we feel, since we don't really have a good track record at this point of winning elections.
Yeah.
Not since Obama.
Well, I mean, that's only one election they've lost.
Well, how many do you have to lose before you?
Well, I mean, it's one.
realize what
You
you're doing
won
is
prior
wrong?
to this last election. You won twice in a row, and then you lost
With
one.
Barack Obama.
Yeah, you won twice in a row, and then
So
then
is he
here.
the last winner? Because you think Joe Biden's a winner? I mean, you're sitting
certainly
here.
hope so.
You're sitting here, having to encourage people. Hey guys, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, or don't spite your nose to cut off your face.
I
Whatever
agree,
you
man.
said.
I agree.
So I don't even think that you're confident that he's a shoe-in.
He's certainly not a shoe-in. Joe Biden is certainly not a
How can you
shoe-in.
not be a shoe-in against Donald Trump?
Well, there's a lot of factors.
Was
in
it
there.
hard to find somebody that could really beat Donald Trump?
I don't think it was. Yeah. I felt like my guy could have beat him. But now, here's the problem that I've got with people that are angry at Joe, angry at Senator Harris, and blah blah blah. What are you going to do? The choice is binary, right? It's either Trump and Pence or Biden and Harris. Those are your two choices at this point. So, yeah, we might have been upset about them putting their thumb on the scale. We might be upset at the will of the people. We might be upset at blah, blah, blah. But at this point, the choice is clear. So what you've got to say now is, do I want 4 more years of Trump and Pence? Or do I want to put 2 people in office where we actually have a chance to put pressure on them to get some of the things that we want: social injustice, equal pay, human and civil rights, diplomacy, not having the entire world pissed off at us.
Is
equitable
the entire world
wages.
pissed off at us?
Not all, but some.
Oh, okay.
A good number.
Some of the world's pissed off at
Yeah,
us.
a good number are.
Only in the last 4 years have we pissed off some of the world.
No. But it's my biggest problem with Trump has always been his lack of professionalism.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't comport himself in a manner that he should when you're talking about the highest office of the land. You've got thousands upon thousands of federal employees that work up underneath him. And if any of them conducted themselves in the manner in which he did on a regular basis, they would lose their security clearance and lose their jobs.
Well, he's the
right?
boss. He's
yeah,
the boss.
yeah. So it shouldn't be I'm the president, so I can do whatever the hell I want. I can hold myself to a different standard. It shouldn't be that.
Furthermore,
that was the same issue I had with Hillary, right? Or one of the issues I had with Hillary, right? That she really thought she was above, everyone else. She could do what she wanted to do, whether or not certain things, emails and other things were a big deal or not. The point was it was wrong. She knew it was wrong and she shouldn't have done it, right? And she should have just came out and said, hey, I shouldn't have done that and apologized and moved on. So everyone needs to conduct themselves professionally and appropriately, and no one should feel like they're better than the American citizens in which they work for.
It's funny you said that, saying that if a government employee behaved, like Trump behaved, in some instances they would lose their clearance or whomever and whatever. I think that if you showed up to meetings and it took you 15 minutes to even remember where you were, your employer probably would say, hey, man, are you okay? Are you all there?
They would ask that question.
They would definitely ask that question,
ask that
right?
question.
And they would not trust you. I'm not going to say they wouldn't trust you, but before you got certain access to certain things, they would check you out to make sure that, hey, this guy's cognitive skills is up to place.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with being sick.
No.
Now, there's nothing wrong with being old.
Nope.
But there is something wrong with every time you get up to talk. Not every time, but the majority of the times you get up to talk, you're calling folks by the wrong names. You're naming the wrong cities.
Yeah.
Don't know what building you in the city. This is where, no, we're not there. That's down the street where I used to work. And you get it wrong again. Yeah. Right? So, we got to if you're going to hold feet to the fire, you got to hold it to the fire on both parties. Trump has his issues, and Joden has it. What's his name?
Sam, are you all right? Are you all
I'm
here?
not.
I'm just trying to say.
I'm not.
I might need to
I'm not all
reevaluate
right.
whether you can continue on this podcast. You don't remember the former vice president? You don't remember his name?
I wanted to say Joe Budden, but boy, almost went to Joe Budden, then Joe Biden.
Really?
At this point, at this point, at this point.
Listen, Joe is certainly
Slow Joe.
Well, Sleepy Joe is what they call him.
It's Slow Joe now.
Vice President Biden certainly has his warts. And so I think that's why, certainly why they got someone like Senator Harris, who's much more sharp and clarity of mind and articulate. And I don't think she's going to forget where she's at, what building she's in, people's names, what they're trying to do. So I guess she's there to counter some of his flaws and missteps. But anyway, the point is, man, that it is what it is. These are the candidates now, and I really hate this. I talked about this on Facebook the other day. I really hate, despite the fact that I disagreed certainly with some of her history as a prosecutor and a district attorney, and I think we can't just because we like someone or because we dislike the other side. I don't think we can just overlook people's track record. But at this point, the decision has been made, and I just hate that a lot of the negativity, particularly coming from black folks, is in some way overshadowing this historic moment.
Because it's not.
It is a historic moment. It is a historic moment. Whether, just because you don't think that's the best choice or she's the best candidate doesn't change the fact that it's historic.
No, it doesn't.
It's historic because there's never been a black woman as the vice presidential candidate of a major party.
Jarvis,
period.
If you and I decided to go outside and get into a foot race, right?
Why would we do that when you have no chance to win?
And while I'm down in stand, whatever you call it, in position to take off, you tie my laces together. All right? I take off, fall, hit my face, bust my nose.
Yeah.
You run and cross the finish line. Right?
I won.
You've won.
Yes.
Jarvis won.
won.
He
Yes.
won. He made history. He
Yes.
won. That's retarded. That's absolutely retarded to me.
Actually,
I have nothing wrong.
Actually, the term retarded, it's kind of inappropriate to use that term. We don't really use that term anymore, Sam.
What's the
Retarded.
Okay,
we don't really use that word anymore.
Okay.
Just to know, I know you're
Dumb.
kind of a caveman.
That's dumb.
Because
Dumb,
retarded,
stupid,
because
idiotic,
retarded and dumb
foolish.
aren't synonymous. You understand that,
Well,
right?
I
so
changed the degree.
that's why
I
you shouldn't say
changed
that.
the degree.
Okay.
I changed the degree.
I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know.
changed it.
Just letting you know for
if
future
retarded
reference.
didn't work for you, I took it a step further.
Sam Johnson
and
is
just
responsible
outright
for the
saying
content
dumb.
that comes out of his mouth.
That idea
not two
is
opinionated
dumb.
brothers.
We threaten, our influencers, our 100 influencers in our community threaten President,
Vice presidential,
nomination, whatever he
Vice
is,
President Biden.
Threatened that if he did not pick a black woman to be his running mate, he would lose the election.
Yep.
He picks a black woman, and we say, "Oh my goodness!" For the first time in history, a black woman has been as if he scanned over the field of candidates, right, and saw a woman who stood above the rest, regardless of her color, regardless of their gender, regardless of whatever, and said, "This is the person." Unless the argument is made, well, he wouldn't have, Joe Biden is racist, and unless they would have said, you better pick her or we walk, he wouldn't have picked her. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I think a couple of things. I agree, and I said this before, and I guess you can hear. I said before that I agree that I thought it was a mistake for them to come out and essentially demand that he pick a black woman. Because when you do that, it kind of takes a little bit of the flame out of the pick, because somebody like you and many others, right, will say, well, the only reason she got picked is because they threatened Biden and said that basically we wouldn't support him, and that in turn would mean he would lose unless he picked a black woman. So
you think?
Well,
so you think Kamala,
can you let me finish?
So you think Kamala is the most qualified of all of the names that you know in recent? Even the folks that's on stage.
Out of what?
The group
of black women, or just group of women in general?
The group of people. I
don't know who all the people were. I don't know who all the people were.
So you don't know the people who ran for president for the Democratic Party this year.
Well, I know those people. Okay, but there could have been other people that they looked at too.
Those people. So let's simplify it, narrow it down.
Okay,
out of those people.
So out of those people, it was just what? Her, Klobuchar, and Elizabeth Warren. As far as women, you're talking men too. You're talking men too. Okay.
I don't think that people should get elected to office based on their color, based on their gender, based on their sexuality.
Okay.
Right? Those aren't qualifiers for my vote.
It shouldn't be.
Okay? Those are if
in a perfect world it wouldn't be, but we don't live in a perfect world. But go ahead.
If there was a goat that was intelligent enough to debate and beat Donald Trump,
we don't
I would vote the goat.
We don't. Do we know there's not a goat out there that's more intelligent than
hopefully?
Okay.
Hopefully a ram comes from the bush.
Maybe we should go talk to some goats.
Hopefully there's a ram that comes out of the bush between now and November.
Maybe we should go talk to some goats and see if there's
what
something
I'm
else.
saying to you is you won't even say that of the people that were on that stage, you just told me you supported Bernie.
I did.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, I did.
So that means to me that you probably believe that Bernie would have, if he had accepted it, if he would accept it, you probably believe that Bernie would make a better vice presidential candidate than Kamala.
No. I supported Bernie as the presidential candidate.
Okay.
So he would have had to then select a vice presidential candidate.
So you wouldn't support him as the vice presidential candidate?
Yeah, of course I would, but I want him to be at the top of the ticket.
But do you think he is a better pick than Kamala?
To be president, I would. The roles of vice president are totally different. So I supported Bernie's agenda. As the vice president, he wouldn't have that much. He wouldn't have as much influence over the agenda, obviously, as if he were the president.
You just said to me that they selected Kamala or Kamala
Kamala. It's Kamala. Kamala Harris.
Whatever you call it.
Ain't no whatever you call it, man. Say the woman name.
Just said,
Your name's Sam, right?
I don't know.
So you like when people call you Sam, right? So her name is Kamala.
Just don't call
Kamala
me late for
Harris.
dinner, man.
I mean, you went to
comb her hair. What'd you say?
You went to
you just say comb her hair.
You went to an institution of higher learning, right?
Hey, listen.
So you know how to enunciate, right?
Even you,
or they didn't teach you that at Oakwood.
Even you won't say that of the people, and there's thousands of people he probably could have selected from, but of the people that were, if you were going to pick someone, right, that was on that debate stage during the Democratic primary, are you willing to say today that of those people there, Sister Harris was the best candidate on that stage to be vice president?
Here's what I'll say. Out of all the people on stage, and the other people that he was vetting, she was just as qualified as any of them to do the job. That's what I think. So if she were underqualified, right? If she was some nobody that had hold on. If she was some nobody that had never legislated, that had never led anything, that had never been on the big stage, had never made decisions, and it was just some second cousin that he pulled out of his hometown that he wanted to make his vice presidential nominee, then yeah, I'd have a problem there. But she is just as qualified as anyone else up there. Now, let me be clear. I would have liked Bernie Sanders and Susan Rice, or Bernie Sanders and Cory Booker type of ticket.
You're naming people. You're naming
Tulsi
people,
Gabbard.
You're naming people based on color, man.
No, I'm not. Bernie Sanders is white.
You're right. But
Bernie Sanders is white.
And you said you voted for him twice.
Bernie Sanders is
after
right.
Bernie Sanders, the rest of the names that you gave were African Americans.
I only gave two names. You didn't let me finish.
You said Cory Booker.
I would have took
Susan Rice.
I would take Cuomo. Out of the governor for New York. I like Cuomo, but I don't think he wanted to be a vice president. He might try to run for president in the next couple of terms. But my point is this: she's just as qualified as anyone else that they could have picked, right? So her qualifications is not an issue. Again, I think they were wrong by coming out and threatening, hey, you better pick a black woman or else. To me, that's just not the way to do it, because then people can take little shots at her like this and say, well, the only reason she's there is because he forced her to pick a black woman.
And you don't think that's the case?
I honestly, I have no way of knowing, had they not made that ultimatum, if he was going to pick a black woman or not. I don't know. That's why I said I would have preferred them to just have that discussion behind the scenes, right, where it didn't come out publicly that you're being pressured to pick a black woman. Now, having said that, black people need to be represented in the Democratic Party. They are, but we need to be more represented in the Democratic Party. We had a black president, first black president. That's great. Right now, we're going to have potentially the first black woman vice president. So I'm all for it. I'm all for history making. Listen, man, the majority class, right, has been manipulating the system since the beginning of time, right? So I'm not going to sit here and cry about Sister Harris getting the nomination because there was some pressure put on Joe Biden to pick a black woman. Oh, well, quit crying, right? There's been pressure to pick white people in positions throughout history. Why? Because they're the dominant class. So I don't care about that. All presidents before Barack Obama and all vice presidents before Barack Obama were what? White males. Right? Do we think that before Barack Obama, there were no black people, male or female, that were smart enough, qualified enough, articulate enough, influential enough to be president or vice president? Well, obviously, we don't think that.
You had some that ran.
Who?
Right?
Jesse Jackson. What was the lady's name? I'm forgetting her name right now. It was a black lady that ran, but they never had a legitimate chance.
Oh, okay.
They never had a legitimate chance. So
why is that?
Well, for several reasons.
One of it wasn't a Democratic Party.
Yeah,
there weren't African American voters.
There were African American voters, but there's not enough African American. If 100% of African Americans vote for a presidential candidate, they still need help from the majority class. You realize that, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So don't ask dumb questions.
Which is why I think it was, which is why I think that it probably wasn't the best political move. Which I understand that Joe is pandering to the black vote.
Well, I mean,
He's pandering-
every politician
he's
panders
pandering-
to some
he's
vote.
pandering to the black
Yeah,
vote.
every politician panders to
and
some
thus
vote.
he picked an African. He picked
He
an
picked
African.
it.
He picked an African.
Picked it.
Yeah,
Good
he
Lord
did.
have mercy.
He did. He picked
Oakwood
an
University, right?
African-American woman
Oakwood University, right?
Doesn't
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Doesn't in the million
They didn't teach you how to
years-
enunciate?
Well, what they taught me was free thought, right?
Okay, free
What
thought
they
has
taught me
nothing
was
to do with
free
being able
thought.
to enunciate.
Yeah, right. And so what I'm
Picked.
saying is
Picked,
well,
not picked it.
All right, okay. Well,
Okay, well.
When you finish,
I know you're upset.
Upset
I know
about
you're
what?
upset. I
about
know you're
what?
upset. Go ahead.
I haven't even told you my opinion.
Kamala Harris would never pronounced it picked it.
I have not. I haven't.
That's
even
why she's
given
the vice
you-
presidential
I haven't
pick right
even
now.
Given you
Because she knows the difference
my
between picked
opinion
and picked it.
of Kamala Harris.
Okay.
You know,
What's your opinion of it? What's your opinion of it? Let's get to that. I mean, you've sat here and complained.
You're saying
You've
that I'm
complained for
not
30
complaining
minutes
about
about her
anything.
being picked.
No,
So what's
sir.
your
No,
opinion of
sir.
her? Give
No,
me your
sir.
opinion of her.
I'm not
You
complaining
scared?
about her being picked.
Give me your opinion
What I'm
of her.
complaining about is the fact that we're celebrating this.
We should
as
celebrate.
if, you
We
know,
should celebrate.
As if we're
You
we're,
lost
know,
your mind if you're not
as
celebrating.
if we are, but again,
It's history. History is being made.
We are influencers.
History is being made.
And what's crazy,
Nothing's perfect. We don't live in a perfect
and what's
world.
crazy is based off what you just said, we couldn't even make good on the threat that we posed. If you don't vote, if you don't elect, pick an African American woman to be on your ticket, you'll lose the vote. You just said yourself, if those 100 influencers could get 100% of the African Americans in this country to vote, one, and the two, vote with them, he still wouldn't be able to guarantee the election.
No, because
Right?
he still have to have white votes, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? What's your point?
So we couldn't
What's your
even
point,
make,
man?
so they could not even make good.
Today's
on
not
the
your best
threat
day,
that-
man. You're not making a lot of good points.
Well,
man.
I'm making
well,
very
I
good
tell
points.
you don't make a lot of sense.
I'm making
anyway.
very good points.
What's
You know,
your opinion of Kamala Harris?
Well, my personal.
Hold on,
opinion
before
of
you do
Kamala-
that, I got to give a shout out again. Greetings to the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Go ahead, dog.
You done? You need a few more seconds?
I just thought back to when I was online. I just wanted to give a shout out to the K's. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm saying to you is, again, I don't. My vote is not decided based on gender.
We already know
race,
that, man. Go ahead, man.
sexuality.
What's your point?
All right. That's not how you get my vote. Right. It's great. Just on the last podcast, we talked about how great it was for John Lewis to be in the Capitol Rotunda.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I understand and celebrate monumental, but no one had to
Commander in
write.
Chief didn't go pay his respects
But
either,
no
man. What
one,
do you think about
no one has a right, but no one had to write, Congress and say, hey, if he doesn't lay and remain at the Capitol Rotunda, then we're going to X, Y, and Z. Right? Maybe a memo was sent
Sam,
to
get to
Capitol
your
Hill
point, man.
for that.
Can
You
get
see
to
what
your
I'm
point?
saying? Well, my point is, I don't have a problem. Listen, again, listen. I don't agree with, as President 45 says, Kamala, phony Kamala.
Is that what he said now?
Phony
Yeah,
Kamala.
he's yeah.
Right.
Okay. I hadn't heard
so
that one.
my thing is, she, I do not agree with really basic fundamental policies that she has supported and
I
pushed
understand
forward.
that. I understand that.
Are you a gun owner, Jarvis?
I am.
She says now this is recent.
Okay.
In her presidential bid, right? She said within the first 100 days of her being president, there would be a ban on all assault rifles,
Okay.
right? And a mandatory buyback.
Okay.
Do you own an assault rifle? Okay.
Allegedly.
All right. Okay. If you owned an assault rifle, right, and Vice President Kamala, within 100 days of Slow Joe and Kamala in office, she says it's a mandatory buyback on all assault rifles. You carrying yours down to the nearest depot and dropping yours off?
Absolutely, if it's the law of the land. Let me tell you a little something about gun ownership, and this comes from a person that owns several guns. I own some guns for protection, right? And then I own some guns just because, they're kind of cool and I'm allowed to legally go purchase them, right? But I agree that there needs to be a serious drawback of particular style weapons in the United States of America.
So why'd you purchase it?
Because I can, and it's
okay.
cool to have. Just, basically it's an impulse buy and you just go blow money, right? That's all it was. But I agree 100% that assault style weapons, military style weapons.
So won't you get rid of it now?
Clips that hold 100 rounds and stuff like that.
Well,
There's no place for that in a civil society.
Get rid of it now.
Well, I don't. My weapon doesn't hold 50 or 100 rounds. Right?
Well, I'm almost
I don't have
positive,
anything that holds.
I'm almost
holds that.
positive that it probably is going to fall under the ban. Right?
Well, actually, it's really just classified as a rifle, a long rifle. So maybe not. I don't own any extended clips and silencers and all that crap. But because again, there's nothing. I don't buy a military style weapon with 100 rounds for personal protection. Right? If you've got a family, right, a wife and a couple of kids in the house, and a burglar. You hear somebody breaking in, you don't get a military-style weapon that shoots 100 rounds and go shooting through the walls. You're going to kill your whole family, right, trying to get to a prowler. A handgun or a shotgun will suffice. This whole notion that the the military, this is to fight off the military. If this country goes completely haywire, right, and martial law is put into place, and we've got some evil group, Illuminati, that decides that the military is going to we're going to send the military out in the streets of America and imprison citizens. We're not going to win that battle, right? You're not going to win against drones, tanks, people that have tactical training. You're not going to win that battle. So that notion is absolutely ridiculous. I have no problem with you owning guns in your home, but you don't need 100-round clips and bulletproof vests and silencers. Regular citizens don't need that stuff. So this is. I mean, but this is ridiculous. Why are we talking about this? It seems to me that you're trying to nitpick.
No, sir.
Her pick as opposed to getting behind her.
No,
because
sir. I told you I'm not getting behind anybody.
Okay.
Based on race.
So who are you scared to tell the American public who you're going to vote for?
Well, again,
you can't.
Like we
Bro,
discussed,
it's easy. The choice is binary. Are you going to tell the American public who you're going to vote for?
What happens?
Okay.
In the voting booth, to me, is a private matter.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, I make no effort to try to hide or discourage the fact that I voted for President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Last time over Hillary Clinton.
I know you did.
Over Hillary Clinton.
And look what's happening.
I promise you. And look what's happening.
Yeah.
I agree. Like you said, he's an idiot at times.
So why'd you vote for an idiot?
Well, because the things that we needed in this country,
I
felt like he did.
Like what? What did we need?
What did
we need?
Prior to COVID-19, right? We had some of the lowest unemployment numbers that we've seen in years.
We still have low unemployment.
Well, we're back. They're coming back now.
Even before COVID, those numbers are misleading, right? If somebody is unemployed and they go from unemployed to working a job that pays them $10 an hour and they get 15, 20 hours a week, they're no longer considered unemployed, but they're still underemployed, right? They're still having to take on food stamps and get maybe housing vouchers and stuff like that other taxpayers are paying for. So what's the difference, right? So those numbers can be manipulated to make it seem like we've done such a great job with getting jobs for minorities, but really we haven't, right?
Well, you said minorities. So I'm saying in general.
Well, yeah. In general.
Well,
I think you're. Well, I won't say you, but the president likes to tout that he's. I think he actually said he's done more for African Americans since other than Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. So he likes to always tout that African American unemployment was lower, or it's lowest in a lot of years prior to COVID. And the percentage overall was low. But again, if someone's unemployed and they go get a part-time job and they're getting paid $10 an hour, that goes to those numbers, and it's no longer showing them as unemployed, but they still are at best living check to check.
Well,
in most cases they still aren't.
I'll say this:
they're still struggling mightily.
You can only live. Well, I can only live in one place at a time, and as of right now, I live in Huntsville, Alabama, North Huntsville.
You do,
right? And I can tell you that anybody at this point in North Huntsville, well, maybe not so much this exact.
Yeah, I'd be careful saying anybody.
But prior to COVID-19 and the restrictions that it has placed on employment, you would be far stretched to say that you can't gain employment here in this community.
I think you should be careful saying that.
Far stretched.
I don't think you're ingratiated enough into the community to be able to make that type of to give
I don't
that
have
type
to
of
be
answer.
ingratiated into the community.
I don't think you
to
know.
be able to look at Indeed and see that every day I get emails. Of people.
Is everyone
looking
qualified for those jobs?
Who knows? What
Exactly.
qualification?
I don't know. I don't know what jobs
needed?
you're talking about. What job you
Well,
could
look
be
on
talking about? An
Indeed.
engineer for Boeing.
Look at Indeed.
What?
And I'm sure. And you
so
know
what jobs are you talking
and
about?
You know what, Jarvis? There are positions like that on Indeed.
Yeah, they are.
You know, people don't post jobs that don't exist.
The average citizen,
which means that in this
the average
community,
citizen doesn't qualify for that job.
See, you're making a difference. But there are engineers that were unemployed.
Yeah,
Is that true?
I don't think that highly skilled individuals, engineers, rocket scientists, I don't think those are the people we're worried about, right?
It's not what we said was
they're going to probably at some point find a job.
Well, hopefully, if there are jobs available. What I'm saying is, at times, engineers were feeling the effects of companies going out of business.
Of course they were.
Contracts being lost.
But they have a greater
moving
likelihood of
overseas.
bouncing back than someone that has a GED or just a high school diploma or maybe even didn't graduate from high school.
You would be hard to convince me that an individual who is authentically trying to get gainful employment prior to COVID-19 and even now can't find a job here in the Rocket City.
What research have you done to be able to make that statement?
The Indeed listings that I get every day.
Just because you see some listings on Indeed,
that
doesn't
for
mean
employment.
Have you talked to someone that works? Have you
talked to Mazda Toyota is opening.
They don't hire everybody.
Well, but they offer training for those that they want to hire.
Have you talked to people in job placement, unemployment office, and have they told you, hey, we've got 3,000 people unemployed and there's 4,000 jobs out here that all of them qualify for, but they're just too lazy to apply? Have you talked to anyone? So you have no facts or no research to back up that type of statement. See, that's a classic.
Let me tell you something you told me. You know,
what's that?
Saying that saying that you're not qualified for something is not an excuse. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Everybody, it's
right?
It's harder for some than others to pull themselves up by the bootstrap.
It's
hard. It's hard. I think it's easy for me. And again, let me be clear. I'm not excusing anyone for being lazy or trifling and not wanting to do better for themselves. Right? I'm a big firm believer in personal accountability, and so there are certainly people out there that don't work and they don't want to work. Right? There are certainly people out there. But I think you need to be very careful about lumping a large number of people into that particular category and saying, hey, there's jobs out there for everybody and they just don't want them. Because I found that in my dealings and talking to people in the communities, talking to people that have job placement programs, that do training, GED training, etc. I've talked to several of those type of people and know several people that work in those type of fields, and they tell me that it's not as easy as one might think for some people to find jobs.
Why?
So,
what would make it difficult?
Well, it could be a lack of educational qualification for them. Hold on. Let me finish. So your problem is you never want to let anybody finish.
Well, you want to give.
I was about to get to that, but you won't let me finish. Sometimes you have to learn to be quiet and let me finish.
Okay,
so it's a combination. So it may be that they need to increase their training in a particular skill set, but okay, we've got this free training over here, but it's offered at this time, and maybe they can't get there. Maybe they don't have transportation. Maybe they've got kids and they can't get there at that time. Maybe they're working some dead-end job maybe they got a disability. It's a lot of different reasons why someone maybe can't get the training they need or don't know about the training. It's a lot of different things. So it's not as easy as it's real easy for you and I, right? Coming from a two-parent household, two great parents that stress the importance of education, right? We saw a certain example our entire lives, right? We didn't grow up in some of the most impoverished communities around. We always had food on the table. We always had positive influence and positive role models in our lives. So it's very easy for us to sit with that particular perspective and to look down and judge others and say they don't want to work, or they're too lazy to work, or the job is out there, they're just too lazy to go apply for it. That's not always the case. Okay. That may be the case in some instances. Okay. I won't dispute you on that, but I think the majority of the time that's not the case, man.
Okay, so just for a point of clarification, I never said that anyone was too lazy right?
You insinuate.
To work. No, I did not.
Okay.
Some people don't want to work.
You're right. Some people don't want to work.
Whether it's laziness, whether it's they just want something for free, or whether they whatever.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
What I said was, for people who want to work, there is opportunities. You said transportation. I wrote it down. You see me writing it. You said transportation.
You need to pay for that paper.
You said transportation. Okay, good point. Maybe there is a need to be able to help folks who need to get to job training.
So are you going to start that program?
Well, that's why I'm writing.
I mean, you're excoriating these people, so maybe you should start.
Sir,
maybe you should start a transportation service and go pick people up.
Maybe we should.
No. Why are you putting it on me?
We should.
Why are you putting it on me? This was your bright idea.
You said child care.
Yeah, you gonna start a daycare?
Well, maybe we can. Why
you keep saying we?
Because,
when are you gonna do something?
I started by making a list.
That list means nothing.
Instead of
I don't need to make a list. The list is in my head.
And cry about why people can't work. What I'm saying to you is, if transportation is an issue, you just said you and I are fortunate, and I don't know how I'm fortunate. Hell, I work 2 jobs.
You choose to work 2 jobs because you have a drinking habit.
Well, no, because I have bills to pay.
Well, everyone has bills. You have a drinking habit, and I'll just say it right now on this podcast. Okay. Broadcasting, where was it? Ireland and where else?
What we experienced.
So I not only want to tell the American public, but the public of Ireland, and what was that other country we're in? Was it Hungary?
Okay. So, well, you know what?
Bolivia. What was it? South America. What was the other one?
It's Hungary.
Hungary and what else?
So maybe
Ireland.
there's some folks, and the reason I'm reiterating this is because maybe there is some folks in Ireland and Hungary that might hear what was happening in here in North Huntsville and want to help us. We've got folks trying to get to job training who need transportation. And the reason they can't get to that job training is because they don't have a way to get there.
Should I send them my Cash App?
You have
folks from Ireland and Hungary send us.
You have 3 or 4 vehicles, Jarvis, right?
I don't have 3 vehicles.
Okay, I have a vehicle,
and one of them's a 2-seater.
My fiance has a vehicle.
One of them's a 2-seater.
That's fine. Well, you plus one. It only takes one person at a time. So what I'm saying to you is, if transportation is holding back folks in our community from getting a job, then what we need to do is find a way to solve that. Okay. If child care is an issue,
you get right on it, Sam.
Child care is important. I'm experiencing some child care issues right now.
What's the child care? Nobody wants to watch your child because of their dislike for you?
No,
is that what it is?
I'm not going to leave my child with just anybody.
The sins of the father become the sins
with just anybody. So I know what it's like to find trustworthy, but just anybody. There's lots of daycares out there.
Okay.
Right? And when we've talked to and we visited a few.
Okay.
Right?
And what happened?
Well, we haven't found one yet that we were comfortable.
Why weren't you? What was some of the reasons for your uncomfortability?
Not the point.
It is the point. I'd like to know because I want to reach out to these child care facilities and tell them that you were uncomfortable.
Go to job training because they don't have child care. So what I'm saying to you is, then that is the second issue that we can do something about.
Okay.
If you have an issue with child care, you're trying to get to job training, you're trying to get there because you don't have transportation, you don't have child care, let Smart Jarvis and Sam of 2 Opinionated Brothers assist you.
Okay.
These can't be the reasons.
Well, how the hell are you going to help if you working 2 jobs, Sam? Every time I call you at work or you sleep, so hell, so it sounds like it's going to all fall on me.
Exactly. You know what?
That old Dodge ain't got a lot of room to be carrying people around.
Listen to me.
Especially when I carried over there to the Chevron on the corner and let them watch it.
In fact,
shout out to them boys that watch cars over there on the corner of
great job, driver.
Maston Lake and Pulaski at the Chevron.
And while you getting your car washed at the Maston Lake and Chevron, at the Chevron on Maston Lake, I'm up at 2:00 in the morning.
That's your problem.
On the line at FedEx.
That's your problem. I'm asleep at that time.
And they're always hiring.
Or out partying.
They're always hiring.
FedEx is hiring?
Always.
Are there any restrictions?
Always
are there any educational requirements, physical restrictions?
No, sir.
There's got to be some physical.
No,
FedEx, you got to lift boxes and stuff. You've got to be able to lift
40 pounds,
40. Everybody
60,
can't lift a
40
40-pound box,
okay.
Sam.
Well, then this
you barely can lift a 40-pound box. I had to open a mayonnaise jar for you the other day.
But if you can lift 40 pounds, right, and you speak intelligible language. I'm not even going to say
What
English.
do they have to do that for?
Yeah, well, to say
That's
hi.
another qualification.
At least to be able to say hi.
Why
and
they
bye.
got to say hi? They just drop the box off and keep going.
No. See, again.
Who talking to
We're
them?
in a warehouse, so you're not even.
You're talking warehouse. I'm thinking the driver.
No, sir.
Okay, because drivers, you got to have license,
Did
right?
I say I was a driver?
I don't know. I wouldn't trust you to drive either.
No,
how much whiskey as you drink?
Every morning at 2:00, I get up and I go to work. And I throw boxes for 4 or 5 hours.
You're an American.
And what I'm saying
this is America.
If somebody is looking for employment, right? I've got an opportunity for you.
So how many positions do y'all have right now?
Don't pay. Well, how many positions do we have?
Yes.
Or how many positions do we need?
How many positions do you have available right now at
we
FedEx
need
in the warehouse?
Everybody that
Give me a
wants
number.
to apply. It's not my company, Jarvis. I don't know. But
Well,
what
it seems like you should have been prepared.
But what I do know is that every day we're short-staffed.
Okay. So
And
here's what we're going to do.
You know why we're short-staffed every day?
Why?
Because people leave.
Yeah, because it's hard work, probably.
You're dang right it's hard work.
I wouldn't want to do it.
You dang right it's hard work.
I like sitting in the air conditioner at a desk.
And you don't make much money. I make $13.75 an hour at this job. Don't make very much money at all.
Yeah, that's not.
But you know what?
Yeah,
you know what, though?
You need to be getting paid more money than that.
Why?
We got to fix this, man.
But you know what?
I can't have you on this podcast and make $13.
Well, at my part-time job.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's a part-time
It doesn't matter.
job for
I
that
can't
reason.
have my partner that plays second fiddle to me getting paid $13.
It allows me to bring home every Friday an additional $325 to $350 a week. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It's a part-time job.
Sam, that's not a lot of money, man.
I didn't take this job because I needed a high earning
Sam,
position.
on second thought,
right?
You never have to bring a bottle
what
of
I'm saying to
Irish
you
whiskey
is,
over again, man.
If somebody could
$13.
use a job making bringing home, and that's only because I only work 20 hours a week.
Yeah, so they could be bringing home $700 a week,
if you wanted to,
or more if you could do it overtime.
In fact, I have a good friend. You and I both know him. I won't call his name. He may not want.
Yeah, he don't want people to know he makes $13.
But he doesn't. My point is, he started out making $13.25.
What is he making now?
He makes $18.75.
Whoa!
$18.75, right?
Tell him let me hold something
in 6 months. And you know what?
He got a $5 raise in 6 months?
In 6 months.
Yeah, I need to call the Secretary of Defense.
Because they need
Tell him I need a $5 raise.
They need workers. My point is, and he didn't have any training. He didn't have.
Hey Sam,
no degree.
listen. We're spending a lot of time talking about this.
Well, because it's important.
Spit out your email address. Spit out your email address, and we're gonna have people send their resume to you so they can try to get a job.
Sir,
Why not?
I just told
you care about people getting employment.
Indeed. I'm not insane.
Why do they have to go through Indeed?
Because
they want to get a referral. A referral from you holds weight. A referral from a dedicated employee that gets up at 2 o'clock in the morning and goes to work.
Every time I was looking,
you don't care about people that don't work, man.
Or every time I was looking for work, you go to Indeed, you click go, and they start sending them, buddy.
How do we know? They start sending them, buddy. How do you know the people that are looking for a job have internet?
Well, because a lot of them.
How do you know? How do you know?
Well, because
have you been in their homes?
Right now,
have you been in their homes?
Because right now, let me
you're making a lot of assumptions, my brother. You're making a lot of assumptions.
You are. Let me show you how
you're making a lot of assumptions.
Let me show you how in tune you are with the common man. Right now, ever since COVID-19, Wi-Fi is free for everybody.
Well, hell, why am I paying every month?
Who knows? Wi-Fi.
Are you kidding me?
Through Xfinity.
Okay.
Xfinity.
Well, I don't have Xfinity. I've got Google.
Xfinity. If you have a Wi-Fi locator on your phone, that says search for Wi-Fi.
Okay.
You pull it up. Xfinity shows up. You click on it, and it says.
Are you kidding me?
You didn't know this?
No, I didn't know this. I'm paying damn $70 a month to Google.
When school was let out and people had to go to homeschooling, right? The question was, what if they don't have high-speed internet?
Yeah.
Right? Internet was made free.
So the government is paying Xfinity?
Xfinity, who cares? I don't know.
I'm just curious about that. But
my concern. Okay, so my concern is
now you finally provided something of value.
My concern is
I'm calling tomorrow to get some free internet.
Well, that's fine.
Does it go to anybody?
Who cares who it goes to? It came to me.
How did you get it? And you have a job, 2 jobs, in fact.
Because I was sitting somewhere and thought, dog, man, I don't have Wi-Fi. I clicked on Wi-Fi, hoping that the place that I was in had Wi-Fi. And Xfinity came up.
So you're taking advantage of a free service that you don't need because you can afford to pay for internet.
So I clicked on Xfinity thinking that it was going to ask me for a password, and a welcome screen came up and said terms and agreements. Due to COVID-19, in response to whatever, this service is free.
Did it say COVID-19 or did it say the China virus?
Listen, the point is, if at that point I was down and out and needed to apply for work, okay, I had access.
Does everybody know this? We need to put this out there, man. I had no clue, bro. No clue. And I'm upset about it, I'll tell you. Because COVID, what did we start showing out around March? What are we in August now? So that's 5 months I've been paying $70 a month to Google. That's $350. I need to get a refund through them and ask them why they're not providing free internet.
I pay for high-speed internet too.
Why? Why when it's free?
Because I don't need it. I don't need free internet.
Oh.
I don't need free internet. You know why?
So
Because
I'd be wrong. I'd be wrong to call in and
listen,
complain
man,
about
I don't
getting it for free.
You know, I think you'd be wrong for doing a lot of stuff you
Such
do.
as?
But what I'm saying to you is, not having Wi, and I know we got smartphones, right?
Everybody doesn't have a smartphone.
Well,
Everybody can't afford a smarphone. How do you know?
I don't know.
You're making a lot of assumptions, man.
don't know, John.
You work 2 jobs, Sam.
I don't know,
You come
John.
from a great household.
I'm
You
thinking,
a great
well,
friend and mentor in
I
me
thank
that has
you.
kept you from a lot of pitfalls in life.
and I
So
thank
that's
you
why
for
you're
calling-
at the point you're at today, because of your affiliation with me.
Okay. Are you done?
So
Are you
you've
done?
had a tremendous advantage that other people don't have. You have first grade access to me.
No.
So you can
What
call
I'm
me and ask
saying
for
is-
advice
what I'm saying is,
all the time.
you wanna know
Everybody
why-
can't do that.
You want to know why? You want to know why? Really, I have 2 jobs. Well,
I don't care.
we'll
Yeah,
talk
nobody
about that
cares,
on
man.
another time.
I don't
What-
consider.
What I'm saying to
well,
you
never
is,
mind. I shouldn't say that.
what
I don't
what-
want to sound elitist.
well, whatever. What I'm saying to you is this.
Hey,
Very
let's wrap
simple.
this up, man. I'm tired of talking.
Very
I've got some
simple.
stuff to do today, man.
Right. You know, there is to me, like, this is a defining election.
Okay. And we know who you're voting for.
And to
You're voting
me,
for Trump.
Whether Donald Trump wins or whether Joe Biden wins, to me, it makes no difference.
That's absolutely
either way.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
it
ridiculous.
really makes
and
no
see,
difference.
that's on a
And
serious note. I was
saying
ready to
you
wrap
is-
this thing
and what
up.
I'm saying to you is this, simply. I think that we as a community, right, we as a community would benefit ourselves more putting ourselves in a position to be taken seriously and not just catered to, right? So they gave us a black woman nominee to be vice president, right? And so now we have individuals who say, like you, oh, well, it's history. You know, there's some stink in the air, but, you know, overlook the stink. Let's don't talk about the stink. Let's just focus on the fact that now we can say we've had a black, you know, if they win, you know, which is a big if. You said yourself is a big if they win. Do you see what I'm saying? And,
Okay,
I
so
just don't feel like we as a
here's
community
what I'm saying.
are being taken seriously at all.
So
In
here's
fact,
what I'm.
I think it's a shame and a disgrace.
So here's a few points I'll make in all seriousness, because we've done a lot of joking around here. For those out there, because I've seen that quite a bit, for anyone out there that thinks that whether Biden wins or Trump wins, it doesn't matter, that's absolutely ridiculous, and it's illogical thinking.
Well, what's the difference?
Hold on, man. I didn't interrupt you the whole time you were talking. We've been
got
doing a lot of
3 minutes.
interrupting,
We
but
got
we're going to
3
get to a
minutes,
point.
Jarvis.
No, we got as much time we want. I run the podcast.
Okay.
The equipment's in my house.
Folks, in 3 minutes, you're going to hear a thump. That's my mic dropping.
So the idea that there will be no difference is ridiculous. When you put an administration in office, president and vice president, there's a whole lot of things down the chain that are affected. Secretary of Education, right? Supreme Court, right? Different rules with federal prisons, how we interact on an international stage, how immigrants are treated. So there's a whole list of things that are affected. And so to say there will be no difference is absolutely wrong. Now, I agree that we need to be serious as black folks about pushing politicians to implement policies that directly impact and improve our lives and our communities. We absolutely need to do that. In order to do that, we have to have people in office that are even willing to listen to us, right? And so what people need to ask themselves is kind of a simple question. Who will be more likely to listen to the plight of the African-American male and female in this country? Trump and Pence or Biden and Harris? That's the question here.
Can I answer your question?
And so
Can I answer your question?
No, I'm not done, bro. So that's the thing we need to look at. So you're absolutely right. We don't need to forget the bad choices that Biden made with the crime bill or bad choices that Harris made in not prosecuting corrupt cops.
Desegregation,
in the area.
Biden's
You're absolutely
votes on
right.
busing.
We should never.
He didn't want
Hey
his
man,
kids
listen,
to be
listen, bro.
in a
You're not gonna
interracial
keep
jungle.
interrupting.
Well, I'm saying let's
interrupting me.
talk the facts.
Yeah, but in order to talk the facts, one person's got to let the other person talk. Okay. So we absolutely cannot forget what they've done. Okay, but we can't punish them by not voting for them and then allow a ticket to go back in office that we've been complaining about for 4 years is not doing anything for us, right? So if we feel like Trump and Pence haven't done anything for us, if we feel like Trump has been openly racist on many occasions, then why would we allow him to go back in office by not supporting Biden and Harris because of things they've done in the past? Better to put them in office, right, and then push them.
Not the past.
Every time they're in the office.
The present. He
What?
just told Charlemagne the God that if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Right?
Yeah.
Did he not say that?
He did say that.
Did he not just say, unlike
He shouldn't have said that.
I mean,
I
the
think
African American community, the Latino community is very verse or very
it was diverse.
diverse.
That's actually a true statement.
Yeah.
It was nitpicked into something wrong. And the problem.
So you agree with that statement?
Well, I here's what I agree with. He's absolutely right. Historically, the large majority of African Americans in the 80 or 90 percentile vote Democrat. When you're talking about the Latino community, it is much more diverse. There's a large percentage that vote Republican, just as there's a large percentage that vote Democrat. That's what he was saying. He was saying that the way in which they vote is more diverse than the African American community. That's what he was saying, and that's a fact. Now,
so why did he say that when he walked it back?
Well, because that's the society we're in now. You can't speak. A lot of times you can't speak frankly. Everyone's so sensitive. We got this cancel culture. If you say something wrong, people want you fired. People want you thrown off the air. All that type of stuff. So that's why he walked it back. I don't agree with that either. I think that people should be able to say what they mean what they say, and stand by it. And people should not be so sensitive. We need people to put on their big boy pants and be able to take constructive criticism and take facts. The Latino vote historically has been more diverse than the African American vote because the overwhelming majority of African Americans have voted Democrat. And therefore, they should, you're absolutely right, they should make it absolutely mandatory that any candidate for office, public office, from president on down to your city councilman, well, city councilman doesn't technically declare a party, but on down, they should make it mandatory that they have an African American agenda, right? And they should hold them to account that they do what they say they're going to do when they're running. Because what happens is a lot of politicians run, they come running for the black vote when it's time to get the votes. They say they're going to do all these great things for black folks and for black communities, and then when they get in office, they don't. So you're absolutely right. They need to be held accountable. But my question is, do you think that we're more likely to get some things that affect our community in a positive way with a Trump-Pence ticket or a Biden-Harris ticket? That's the question.
Well,
so I happen to believe that we have a better chance with the Harris and Biden ticket.
And that's your right. But you had an African American president for 8 years.
We did.
Right? And did you get what you're asking this Joe Biden and Kamala to do?
We didn't get enough. I've always said that.
I felt like
Barack Obama should. I understood the predicament he was in, particularly on his first term. He didn't want to be the Black Power president. Looks like he's doing more for black folks than anybody. I understand that. I certainly expected him to or wanted him to amp it up, ratchet it up a little bit more in that second term. So I agree. I thought we could have, there's some more things we could have gotten out of him. There were some more instances where I wanted him to speak out a little more boldly. But that's history, man. I don't know what we can do about it now. Point is this, so we've got to move forward.
Real quick, man, if you would just answer yes or no, I could get a lot more in, man, and get a lot more said. You eat up a lot of time.
Yeah, answers are typically not yes or no, man.
So my point is, with an African-American man at the top of the ticket, it was a toss-up.
What was the toss-up?
Whether or not the black agenda was going to get the importance. And
I don't know if I would consider it a toss-up.
Well, you said more could and should have been done.
I would have liked to see more done.
Okay.
But I'm more of a radical too.
That's what
I'm more for radical change.
Now,
that's why I supported Bernie.
So now you expect me to believe now that because an African American is second chair on a ticket, the chances are better.
No. What I'm saying to you is I agree with more of the Democratic agenda than I do of that of the Republican agenda. And so that's what I believe.
We probably even know the Republican agenda. What I'm going to say to you is,
I can only go by what I've heard and what they've been doing since they've been in office for 4 years.
So what I'm going to say is this: if probably someone who doesn't feel like they have your vote in their pocket would be a little bit more apt to listen and to help you than someone who feels like you belong to them already.
Not necessarily.
All right. Well,
not
whatever.
necessarily.
We gotta
because the
Jarvis.
one party may feel like they don't need the majority. See, the Republicans feel like we only need a small percentage of the black vote to steal a small percentage of the black vote just to win. And then once we do that, we don't need them. So that's not necessarily the case.
Well,
that's not necessarily the case.
Well, maybe next podcast we can actually dig up some facts and have.
Well, you dig them up, man. You the one want to defend President Trump so much.
Man, we're over. But something
we're not over nothing, man. I own the podcast.
What I'm saying,
I can talk as long as I want.
Over time, right? But something that I really want to talk about because we always.
Dude, I'm done, man. I got some stuff to do.
We spend so much time talking about national stuff, and there's so much stuff happening in our community that we never talk about and address. I want to address this because it really chapped my behind this week on Facebook and just listening to people. A restaurant, Best Wings, right? Have you ever heard of that restaurant?
I'm familiar. Go ahead.
Wings, right? Apparently. Been out of business for a while, I guess. Had noticed.
They had a fire or whatever.
Had a fire. You're absolutely right. Had a fire. Yeah. Went out of business for a while.
Good wings, by the way.
Recently, we opened this week, I hear. And, we came out. Everyone came out, I guess, supported. And there was a big controversy over I think
COVID tax.
COVID tax, 20% COVID tax on the receipt. Right? Which... Again, I mean, I guess since, I don't just order food off Facebook out of people's kitchens, I've been to different restaurants and I've seen that COVID tax before.
Okay.
Now, exactly what it's for, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's, who knows? Maybe it's for the additional funds.
I think they're saying it's going into because there's some, and I don't know that I'm not in the restaurant business, but someone mentioned that it was to help with shortages in certain foods and things of that nature.
Food cost increase. The cost of extra sanitation, having to buy the things to put up, just whatever the case may be to do business during this time, right? And so I've seen that before.
Okay.
Whatever. It's 20%. You like it, you pay it. If you don't, you don't. My issue is the fact that we as a community, instead of patronizing or don't patronizing the restaurant, we take to social media to attack and bully. I even heard folks say, so, I mean, come on, guys, I'm confused. Are we supporting Best Wings or not?
Yeah.
Because I want some wings today.
Yeah.
And I need to know if we're going to be going to Best Wings anymore or we're not going to Best Wings anymore. And what I'm saying, to me, the part that bothered me is we scream black business, black business, black business. But as soon as something goes wrong, right, the first thing we do is we get on Facebook, we get on Instagram, we get on whatever it is we feel that our voice, that somebody's listening to us, and we attack.
Yeah.
And again, maybe you think a 20% fake COVID-19 charge is too much.
Yeah.
Okay, don't go back.
Yeah.
But don't get on Facebook discouraging somebody else.
Yeah.
For going, I mean, it's 20 cents on a dollar.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I agree, and I've said this before on social media and in conversations. I agree that a lot of times we hold black businesses to a standard that we don't hold white businesses to. And what I mean by that is we've all gone into white establishments, whatever it might be, Walmart, Target, some local store, and had a poor experience, right? But it seems like when we go into a black establishment, and if we have a poor experience, the first thing a lot of people or people do is they jump on social media, one, trying to pat themselves on the back for patronizing a black business by saying, I try to support black business, but I swear y'all be whatever, right? And then we make all these complaints, right? And while I agree that the 20% I think was excessive, I think that when you're talking about supporting black business, I think there's a responsibility on the part of consumers as well as the businesses, right? And so it's our responsibility, or hopefully as black people, we think it's a responsibility to patronize black businesses. But then it's also on the business, the black business, to make sure we're fostering a healthy relationship with the community that we serve. So we expect people to come into our business and buy wings. I think we should be reasonable in that tax. And I think 20% was excessive. I agree with you. I don't like people going on there and airing out our business on social media and all that stuff. I agree with that. I also agree that the tax was too high.
Have
so
you bought?
I hadn't been over there yet because they just opened. I used to go all the time.
We're gonna look at this from a different angle. Have you bought when you don't cook? So I know you have.
Whoa! What you mean? I cooked some sausage and eggs the other day.
A roll of ground beef.
Yeah.
You know what a roll of ground beef is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Costs you almost $18.
Really?
Now in Walmart.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Almost $18 for a roll of ground beef. Okay? You know what it used to cost?
No.
Yeah, probably $10 or $11.
Okay. So what's your point?
That's a COVID tax.
Okay.
That is a COVID tax.
Okay.
Right? So how many of us are on Facebook saying, oh, man, Walmart know they ain't got no business charging no $18?
Well, actually, I've seen people complain about
the price
of milk and ground beef. I've seen people complain about it.
Okay.
Do you
know how much a bottle of what do you drink, Jarvis?
I don't drink.
Jameson,
I don't drink. I don't drink. I only buy alcohol for you.
Okay. So I've seen people, all right, going to the club, the bar, and pay $175 for a $40 bottle of liquor.
Those are what we call ballers.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
They're ballers.
Well, if you can't afford a wing plate, stay home.
No, well, they're not ballers.
Stay home.
They're not ballers though.
Then you shouldn't be eating.
And you shouldn't have to be a baller to eat wings.
Okay. Well, you don't have to be a baller.
You
don't have to be a baller.
Here's the difference.
So instead of the wing plate costing $10, right now it's $12.
Well, here's the difference.
No,
it was more than that.
No, because what's 20% of 10?
I don't know.
20% of 10 is 2.
I don't know.
It is.
I didn't take math.
20% of 10 is
Here's
2.
what I'm saying.
So instead of it costing $10 for 10 wings and fries, now it's $12 for 10 wings and fries. Would you agree that the average, average bar in the city, and you go out, you get wing plates. The average bar,
I'm watching my weight.
The average wing plate in a bar is $12 for 10 wings and fries.
I think so.
Right?
About that.
That sounds about right.
So a couple of things.
So there, a $12, 10 wings and fries, not that far out.
Well, I think that's the mistake that they made from a strategic standpoint. What I would have done if I was running Best Wings is I would have just increased my wing combo from $10 to $12. That's not what they did. They put 20% on the entire ticket. So this particular ticket that you were talking about, when that 20% is added on to that young lady's ticket, I think she got about 3 combos and some drinks. The 20% ended up totaling about another 10-piece combo of wings. So I think that's what she was upset about.
Go to Twin Peaks and get you 3 combos and a few drinks and see how much you pay.
Well, in fact, I'm glad you brought that up because I was a little upset with you guys for having that baby shower at where was that, Top Golf? Because it was extremely high, and some people that came to celebrate with y'all may or may not have brought their own flask and purchased one drink, and then were sneaking their own alcohol in there because it was too high.
Well, maybe we need to start sneaking our own wings in the Best Wing then.
Well, that ain't gonna work.
And just.
But Best Wings is not Walmart, so you really can't compare ground beef at Walmart because Walmart has become a necessity. Best Wings is not a necessity.
Exactly.
So their business practices have to be a little more creative.
If you can't afford the wing plate.
Well, I don't think anyone was saying they can't afford it. I think they were thinking that it was the 20% was a little excessive.
That man can charge $100.
Yeah, and then you make a decision to go or not go.
You make a decision to go.
I don't think anyone was saying, "Oh, I'm too poor to pay the 20% tax." I think that people were saying that they thought it was a little excessive.
But that's but it's not your decision.
Well, yeah, it is. It is your decision as a consumer.
It's your choice whether or not you support it.
Well, that means you made a decision that it's excessive, Sam. That's what it means. No one told him. But no one told him.
In fact,
no one told him to not do it. The tax is gone now. Yeah, the tax is gone now.
So no one told him, but mysteriously,
I'm sure you heard about it on social media.
This is what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, you make a decision. Do I want to pay it or do I not want to pay it?
Well, Sam, that's me telling you as the owner that I think your prices are too high. If I frequent your store all the time and then I stop because you raise the prices, that's me telling you I think your prices are too high. Now, you don't have to lower your prices. You can keep them wherever you want.
That's okay.
But you have to make a decision that you're okay with losing that particular business.
Tell the owner. But there is no need. My point is there is no need to cyberbully.
I agree with that.
Right? Well, now you've got folks making, and what really got under my skin.
That's the world we live in, Sam.
Is somebody said, well, I need to know because I'm hungry. Are we supporting Best Wings?
I think I saw that.
Or are we not supporting Best Wings?
Yeah.
And I'm like, who in, and these folks,
Sam, that's the world we live in.
It's not, that's
social
the
media world. That's the
in.
social media world we live in.
And that's the problem.
Well, I'm just saying.
And because of that is the reason why we ended up with the two people at the head of the Democratic Party ticket that we have now.
Okay, what's
That's
your point?
the world we live in.
Sam, where we are is where we are. The
I'm
tickets
done,
have
man.
been set, man.
Hey, man,
Once again, shout out to the beautiful ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We despite my partner's nonsense and his Trumpism, we support y'all. We support Senator Harris. We applaud the history that she's made, and we look forward to her and former Vice President Biden winning the election in November.
Just want to remind everybody you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all under the same name, Two Opinionated Brothers. Once again, a shout out to all the international listeners, Ireland, Hungary. Thanks again.
I'm gonna learn your language. Oh, I'm sorry. He ain't double jointed. He can't do two things at once, so he gets frustrated.